Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR Today, Wednesday morning, July 28th, 2021. The man they call Meathead, and now joining us on Wednesday morning, it's the Matthew Thomas to watch the last week of July, Matthew Thomas.
Hey, it's the last week of July for right now. I've had a lot of people who've talked to me since last week, and I tell you, my calendar idea about, changing things up a little bit's getting a lot of momentum.
Did every one of those people that you talked to have their arms fastened to their chest?
They had it fastened to something. I mean, their arms were, for the most part, it was tucked firmly on their chin because their mouth was agape in wonderment.
Again, folks, this is not rehearsed. It literally is just from the hip. Matthew Thomas, the man they call Meathead. We're going to be talking a little bit of wrestling news. We got some NXT stuff from last night. Plus, we got a sponsor. Matthew, who sponsors this very wonderful program?
That would be the clothing and apparel manufacturer known as Collar and Elbow brand. Collar and Elbow brand can be found on the World Wide Web. If you take your internet browser and you point it towards collarandelbowbrand.com, if you want to insert a certain promo code, if you're interested in saving money, if you're one of those people who like saving money, enter promo code LINDAKay, LINDAKAY. Save yourself a big, fat, juicy 10%.
Let's run down a few things before we talk NXT from last night. First off, Matthew, on Raw, Jinder brought out an attorney, right? Now, I don't remember the name that he used, but at the end it definitely said Esquire, which, again, tickled me to no end. But we have found out that this gentleman, Jinder Mahal's attorney, is Arjun Singh, formerly known as the Geek Singh, and he recently wrestled on AEW Dark.
My goodness, was that who that was?
That's who that was.
Well, good for him. That's outstanding.
That's outstanding. So, again, he said his entire name, but at the end, Esquire, that just got me in the right spot. I don't know why, but it was pretty damn funny. But, yeah, he made his AEW debut on June 29th, losing against Angelico. So, love to see those guys getting chances all over the world.
Do you think he's friends with Joseph Park?
Possibly. He could be Joseph Park's, maybe a partner in the firm of Park. You never know.
Very possible.
Let's also talk about Booker T. Booker T has comments about the Daniel Bryan and CM Punk signing, which is not official yet. Let me reiterate this. Just because we talk about it, and we talk about it a lot, does not mean that this is official. Yes, this report, blah, 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 this report, blah, blah, blah. It's not official until these dudes either show up on TV, it's announced by them, or announced by AEW, okay? Booker T talking about it and trying to make comparisons to Bryan and Punk showing up in AEW. Does it compare to Hall and Nash? Matthew, your thoughts before I go to Booker T's comments.
I got to say it doesn't. And that's just because we're in a different era. When Hall and Nash showed up, you were in the infancy of the internet. The business was not exposed. You didn't see it coming from a million miles away.
Not exposed like the women's wrestlers from Monday Night Raw?
Yeah, not exposed like that either. They were able to take it and really work it in the fact that, you basically, a bulk of your audience, whether wise to the business or not, a bulk of your audience thought that this was two guys coming from a rival promotion to invade another promotion. And that was must-see TV every week. It's a huge deal. I mean, it is with no doubt, the biggest signees, if they pull the trigger and go through with it, that they have had. But it's just a different era, and it's going to be presented in a different manner.
I mean, AEW has already signed former WWE World Champions Mark Henry, Paul White, The Big Show. They've also signed Christian Cage. Chris Jericho. These, John Moxley, these are former WWE World Champions. If they can add two more former world champions to their roster, nothing but success is going to follow. It's probably going to happen. I don't want to say it will or it won't. We're not reporting 100% that it has happened. I'm not there. I haven't seen the paper, and I don't care what the internet says. The internet is what it is, all right? Dirt sheets be damned. We're still talking about it being a hypothetical.
No, absolutely. And it's all signs seem to point that way, but we're not going to believe it, and we're not going to take it as fact until they walk out of a tunnel on an AEW property.
Let's talk real quick about the Matt Cardona win. I don't think you and I talked about it yet, but Matt Cardona over the weekend on GCW defeated Nick Gage, the guy that will be wrestling tonight against Chris Jericho in the Labors of Jericho, the Death Match King, and he took his heavyweight championship. Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder, woo woo woo, you know it, one of the edgeheads, has always said, and he's kind of along the lines of what I am too. He's not a person that's into the death match type or the bleeding for the sake of just the show. Matt Cardona, he got bloody.
Yeah, he did. And I saw pictures here and there. I can't bring myself to watch the video. It's not what I'm interested in. It's not the type of professional wrestling that intrigues me. And, if this is something he wishes to pursue, more power to him. But it's definitely got a lot of attention. And I guess that was, what they were going for. You're also doing it in front of a group of fans that are going to throw projectiles into the ring. And, again, I don't plan to give the promotion any money to watch their product. It's not what I'm into. And
you're not against it. It's just not what you're into.
Yeah. And to have an environment like that where you're honestly endangering the lives of performers by throwing stuff into the ring, if that's what you're okay with there, and that's the internet moment you're trying to make, more power to you. We're not talking about Paul and Nash being hit with Coke cups and whatnot. I mean, This is a small venue where you're
not even talking
velocity.
about chairs being thrown into the ring in ECW or mannequin heads.
Yeah, and I mean, this was done because it's unexpected and it's got people talking, and it does. And in that capacity, then, I guess it was a success. Again, if this is what he, if this is, it seems like it's so much of it right now and it's so in vogue. And honestly, I don't know if he'd be going this direction if the contingent of AEW that's there that, is making a lot of this death match stuff mainstream. I mean, that's it seems like the end thing to do right now in a lot of ways.
And I'm not into it.
Yeah.
I mean, Kenny Omega is the belt collector, but he can do a death match here and there. You've got guys like Eddie Kingston, Lance Archer, they'll do them as well.
Here's my differentiating factor is you have a match in a story that you're invested in, and the color can add to the match. It can add to the drama. It can give you the perception these guys are leaving it all on the table. When you take that and you basically have the flip side of that coin is open blading, is open cutting. This is not somebody, basically taking a ring post, taking a chair, what have you, going to the mat, covering their head, juicing, and you're doing it for dramatic effect. This is presenting the forehead, the scalp, the arm, whatever you're doing to the audience and saying, you guys are going to get off while I cut this guy. Yeah. That's a different story altogether, man. I'm not sure we can even compare apples to apples based on a traditional wrestling product when we're talking about this stuff.
Okay. All right, let's talk one more thing here before we get into NXT from last night. Kenny Omega has provided the latest update on the AEW Council's game. It's not going to happen until 2022. Basically, they're just rewriting the whole thing. I mean, there's not a lot of characters that are developed yet. One of my favorite experiences from doing the PWR Today, PWR, hanging out with Damian, WrestleManias and all that was the Thursday before WrestleMania 24 that we were at. Mm-hmm. Damon and myself were invited up by Midway to hang out with some of the TNA wrestlers after their first ever live Impact and test the Impact wrestling game. I got my ass kicked by Samoa Joe. It wasn't even close. But, I mean, he had been playing all night. So, Joe, give me a day. You take a day. We'll play again. But, wrestlers are notoriously avid video game players. And, that was probably one of my favorite things to do. Yeah. So if this comes along where, they're getting ready to launch a game, AEW, I hope you hear me. I will come test your game for you.
You know what they need to do? They need to just throw everybody off the trail and reverse engineer it and make it only available for the Super Nintendo and the Sega. You have to legitimately go and get an original generation Sega or Super Nintendo to play this thing.
No. All right, let's move on. That may be the most asinine thing I've ever heard. So,
hey,
no.
You can get it 2022, man. You can get it on the day the new calendar comes out.
Ugh. All right, let's talk about NXT from last night. For the folks that did see it, which was on Sci-Fi, and it'll be on Sci-Fi next week again, make sure that you're setting your DVRs for that. NXT has also been pre-recorded, so the spoilers are out there if you cared to, but we're only going to talk about last night's event. Really, here's how it starts off. Samoa Joe comes out and resigns as the enforcer of NXT because he wants his in-ring return, and he wants it at TakeOver 36 against Karrion Kross for the NXT Championship.
I like it. I think this is the way that, we knew this was headed, but that's a new matchup, and it's good to see Joe back in the ring, and I think he and Kross match up extremely well.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I apologize, folks. I'm still recovering. Carmelo Hayes defeats Josh Briggs to advance in the NXT Breakout Tournament. I did not see this coming. Josh Briggs had the size. He had the, just the girth. And Carmelo Hayes found a way to advance in the tournament.
Yeah, and he goes up against my guy next week, it looks like, right? Or is that later on? I think, never mind.
I was going to say I don't have the brackets in front of me, but
I got you.
Toothless Timmy and Grandpa Ciampa defeat Oney Lorcan and Pete Dunne, but the return of Ridge Holland attacking Ciampa and Thatcher. Looks like Pete Dunne's going to go off and do the single thing again, and Lorcan and Holland are back as a team.
Hey, new influx of returning talent in NXT just in time for TakeOver. I think it's a good thing. And with so many wrestling options on each week, this gives us another reason to turn into NXT.
Dakota Kai turned on Raquel Gonzalez. It was them addressing the women's division, and Dakota Kai turned. I wonder when it was going to happen because, Raquel Gonzalez had, this dominant run so far. They were women's tag team champions. What was it, for an hour? I think it was. But Dakota Kai turns on Raquel Gonzalez. This is probably going to take us to TakeOver 36.
Yeah, no, and, we needed something in the women's division, and there's a story here. It's not just another number one contender, being thrown there. It's an actual story, so I like it. What's interesting, though, Meathead, I wonder if she's going to have to wrestle in a contenders match because that's the new thing in WWE.
Oh, please, God, no.
Please. Hey, let me just address that really quick. Man, I don't mind the way AEW does it. If you've noticed when AEW puts up basically a non-title match against the champion, they call it an elimination. I think an elimination match, like a contenders elimination match or something.
Something with like that.
With the idea, at least it's been my perception of it, is if they don't beat the champions in a non-title match, they go to the back of the line. They are quintessentially eliminated from the runnings. That one word makes it much more tolerable to me to see a champion in a non-title match.
Monday night we had, I think it was 3 non-title matches.
Oh my goodness, they're doing it all over the place.
Right, and they had a bunch on SmackDown as well. That's their new thing.
Yeah.
Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter defeat Frankie Monet and Jesse Camilla due to Robert Stone's botched attempt to help. I got to ask you, and not because we kind of know Robbie E. or Robert Stone or the Robert Stone brand. Cal Hero is still smarter than him. But when is it his time? When's going to be Robert Stone's time? Because him consistently being F up is old to me.
Yeah. We are going 3 or 4 weeks of him consistently on TV, and that was not always the case. So even though he is the comedic foil, even though he's consistently screwing things up, he is on our television each week. And dare I say he's likable. I think
likable.
That's the thing that's coming across. He's likable. So I take this as a good sign. And hey, man, maybe after Regal gets a little bit tired trying to keep all them NXT folks in line, we got a new general manager.
Oh, I don't know if that's going to happen, but it would be entertaining. It would be entertaining, that's for sure. Imperium's Marcel Barthel and Fabian Eichner defeat the Hit Row due to distraction from Legado del Fantasma. That's a bit of a shock.
Yeah. No, you didn't see this coming, but it gets them in the picture, and it's got us talking about them, and you've got basically three.
Is there anybody hotter right now in
here.
NXT as Hit Row is as a unit?
No. It's honestly, since there's no more Hurt Business, it's probably the best stable in WWE.
Yeah. Main event was Adam Cole defeating Bronson Reed. Now, after the match, Kyle O'Reilly attacked Cole with a steel chair. Does that mean we're going to Cole O'Reilly 3?
We probably are. And here's the thing. We've seen it, but you're looking for a non-title match that, is really going to deliver at your takeover. And that's a go-to, and I think that's where we're headed.
I joked a little bit about the women's wardrobe malfunctions. We had one from Eva Marie. Her jacket bursted open. It was nothing compared to what happened to Carmella over the weekend at a house show. She damn near, her bra popped open, and she damn near had to hold it while being pinned and not let the girls loose.
Yeah, it's professional wrestling, and I'm honestly surprised it doesn't happen any more than it does.
Yeah,
I had one at the dentist office the other day.
You had a wardrobe malfunction at the dentist office?
Yeah. I had a pair of pants that I had worn a sizable hole in the
crotchal region?
In the crotchal region. And, you don't think about these things until you get into a dentist chair and you're laid back and you actually got higher visibility. So, yeah, man.
Are you saying you had a ball hanging out?
Not all the way.
It reminds me of Tough Enough Season 1. Do you remember? Way back in the day?
I think so. I think I know what you're talking about.
Triple H came in to talk to the kids. This is the season when Meathead and Josh Matthews and Al Snow is a trainer. And then Triple H is wrestling the guy and he goes over whispering to him, "Your balls are showing."
That's polite.
Yep.
That's a common. What's more entertaining is when you tell somebody that and it's not really, but you can have fun with it.
It's even more entertaining when Triple H shows up on Conan to tell a story to Conan O'Brien about exposing Uncle Al's grubworm.
Yeah.
With a suplex.
Yeah. It's you got to retell stories like that, especially in front of national network audiences. You do.
Well, Matthew Thomas, that is what we got. Tomorrow, we are going to talk everything from tonight's Fight for the Fallen AEW big show tonight. Jericho will face labor number 2, the 5 labors of Jericho, facing Nick Gage, the aforementioned Nick Gage. We will talk about it all tomorrow morning. Plus, Friday morning, I think we're going to get in depth on the Kevin Nash Stone Cold interview. You ready for it?
Oh, I'm ready for it. I got that one in the books shortly after it came out. So there are plenty of wonderful nuggets from that interview. I look forward to really going in.
Did you say nuggets like from Butte, Montana?
Nuggets, as in the Denver Nuggets that play in the Ball Arena.
Gotcha. Yeah, because if they ever moved there, they'd be the Butte Nuggets or the Butt Nuggets. But the Ball. Speaking of balls showing, the Ball Arena in Denver.
That's my hometown arena. That's my stomping grounds.
There you go. Fair enough. All right. For Matthew Thomas, I'm the man they call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. So long, everyone.